A concerning development. Up until now, there's been no evidence that data is actually out there circulating in the dark web. But today, for the first time, you've seen hackers release information. Now, this isn't just passport information, names and email addresses. We're talking about sensitive medical information, information that you wouldn't want your boss to see, your family to see in some situations. It's really concerning. And I think Medibank needs to explain how this happened.
And what do you think of a statement by Claire O'Neill? She's saying that customers need to be on alert, and she also agrees that the company itself, Medibank, should not have bowed down to them and to these hackers and paid the ransom.
Look, I'm not suggesting anyone should pay a ransom. The money should have been invested in security a long time ago. Companies and governments take our data, very sensitive data, on trust, and they have betrayed our trust. We need to invest in proper security measures. And I'll tell you something else. Our privacy laws are some of the weakest in the world. That's how corporations get away with this kind of conduct. It's not a high priority for them, and it needs to change. So
what can governments do to beef up those laws?
Well, look, the last government was sitting on a number of reforms. I think there are three very important reforms. The right to know. Everyone has a right to know when their data has been accessed and breached. I can tell you that under the current regime, there's a lot of people who don't even know that their data has been accessed. You talk about your last interview was involving disabled people. The NDIS, one of their service providers, had a data breach. I can tell you that most vulnerable disabled people do not know that their data was accessed. You need a right to sue. We don't have a tort of a breach of privacy like they do in the United Kingdom, and there needs to be a right to forget. In Europe, there's a statutory right to ask your companies to eliminate and remove your information and data. We don't have that, and our weak laws enable corporations to get away with this kind of conduct.
And what's the response been so far for your class action?
Look, our phones have been running hot. We've actually had to set up a separate website called medibankclassaction.com.au because we just can't take all the calls personally. So people should look for that website if they are concerned.
And what sort of damages would we be looking at for some of these customers that are caught up in this?
Look, it really does depend. You know, a minor breach, could be as little as, $100 or so. But if your medical information is released, that is very serious. And, I'm not going to speculate on what could come from that. But there's 9 million people whose data have been breached. It's a very, very serious breach, and damages could even be in the billions of dollars.